Hi there. So as promised, this is the follow-up to the material I was giving you on the sources that you need to be able to cite and attribute in your work to give us the confidence that we can believe and trust what you are saying, and that the conclusions you draw and recommendations you make at the end of your essays or rapport de stage are entirely trustworthy. Okay? So here we go. So more about this horrible word, plagiarism. Plagiarism, as I've said, is simply citation, using people's material, whether you quote it or not. If you're relying on it in your work, you are borrowing it, you are using their intellectual property. They've spent time thinking, doing research, working this out, testing it, writing about it, publishing it. They've gone to all that effort, and you just take it and use it? Not without consequences, you can't. So, if you do take something, and it's so easy to do, isn't it, with copying and pasting. It's so easy to mix that up in your work that you would think no one might find it, but don't. Number one, you don't get the credit for having gone to the effort of finding good stuff. And number two, you potentially run the risk of being found out and having somebody throw the rule book in your face. Okay? So, plagiarism is citation without attribution, using material without saying where it comes from, with the result that you, with your name on this piece of work, seem to be presenting other people's work as your own. You dare not do that. I told you in my previous video that using an acknowledged referencing system like MLA or Harvard, for which there are very useful electronic and quick use guides, and even some automated systems to help you produce your references. So there's no excuse for not actually referencing properly, citing, attributing in the text, and giving a full bibliography so that we can find your material and check on it. Certainly I know of colleagues who look for every single reference in someone's memoir, thèse, or rapport de stage. Okay, so you have been warned. Well, what sorts of plagiarism are there? Well, of course, there are lots. But essentially, whatever it is, it amounts to cheating. Well, who is it cheating on? Well, first of all, it's cheating on the system. You're going to a university to be educated with the view of learning so that you can become a better, more complete, more knowledgeable, more capable person. And you can do great things as a result, far more than you could before you went to university. You can perhaps change the fortunes of your family and the company or organizations for whom you work. That's great. But essentially, if you are borrowing other people's work and you're doing it completely uncritically, you haven't really read it, you just copied and pasted it, etc., well, you haven't really learned, have you? So most importantly, the first person you are cheating on is yourself. You are devaluing yourself, and you are denying yourself the opportunity to actually learn, which was the whole point of coming to university in the first place. Secondly, you're cheating on the university and your tutors. Whenever you give us a piece of work, you say to us expressly, "This is my work. It's all mine. When I have relied on other people's work, I've cited it, I have attributed it, and I've given these people due credit. You can safely give me a mark because everything in my work is mine. Anybody else's work I have incorporated, but I've shown it's not my own work." That's entirely appropriate. But if you don't do that, you are tearing up the official agreement and the implied agreement between us. That you're presenting a piece of work with your name on, saying, this is my work, give me a mark for it which represents what I'm presenting. Well, if it's not yours, who are we giving the mark to exactly? So you're cheating on the university system. In a sense, even worse than that, you're cheating on your tutor. The tutor comes to class every day. The tutor does his best. The tutor builds his bridge from the teaching side to meet your building bridge from the learning side. And you're cheating on somebody who in good faith, who spent his entire career learning and trying to do the best that he can do to help students who are sitting in your seat. And you're cheating on that person? Where's the good faith in that? The tutor's going to mark you believing this is your work. Can you imagine how disappointed, upset, and in some cases downright angry a teacher can get when they know that this person who's been all smiles and nice with them in class and cheery on the way out has deliberately tried to cheat them? It's a horrible feeling. It's happened to me quite a number of times, more and more and more as the years pass. And the pill is a very bitter one. It hurts and it sticks. And there's something worse. Because if there is a plagiarism case where we have to throw the book at you, we have to take your report apart, we have to check where the material came from, we have to identify every single piece of work that might have been borrowed or stolen and not properly referenced, and identify where it came from and photocopy that and have an interview with the person who's written the assignment, bring somebody else into the room so that we have a witness, pass it up the line to our superiors, appear perhaps at a plagiarism hearing. It takes hours. So not only do you upset us because you've done it, you rub salt into the wound by forcing us to do an awful lot of work that we would rather not do at all. So it is cheating all the way round. It's also cheating on employers. Employers trust us to give them a fair and true representation of how good you are across a range of subjects within your degree or master's. These marks need to represent that of which you are capable of doing for your employer, your hope for employers. Employers trust these things. If they no longer trust them, then what's the point of having universities if that's going to happen? We have to be able to produce something that when the head of department, when the dean, when the president officially signs your relevé note and your certificate, that these accurately represent your work. If not, it is simply worthless as a piece of paper. And you're cheating on everyone you've ever met. Here's the worst, perhaps, especially on your colleagues, some of whom will know that you've been cheating, some of whom that will see you cheating, some of whom have heard people bragging that they were cheating, but we didn't manage to spot them. How do you think those people who really did all the work themselves, who maybe got a lower mark, how do you think they feel? Perhaps they haven't got the courage to come and tell us, hey, this person is a complete and utter cheat. I saw them cheating in the exam room. I saw them with Orietin or whatever. Maybe that's the case. I can understand that. There's a lot of peer pressure. not to speak out. But how do you think those people feel? So there we go. There's a whole mantra as to why universities take this so very seriously. At the limit in France and at the University of Haute-Alsace, if we find that you have deliberately and obviously and significantly plagiarized, cheated in other words, it's quite possible that we can fail the assignment. It's possible we could fail the entire unit. It's possible that unit could mean that the student could fail an entire year, or in the worst of the worst cases, not ever get a degree, not ever get the masters that they were studying for, and be banned from any future university education for a period of 5 years, even including state examinations, including the driving test, would you believe? These sanctions are very severe. And because new technologies are making it easier and easier and easier to do this, we're seeing more and more and more of it. And because of that, the punishments are getting harder and harder and harder. The handbooks, the livret, talk about plagiarism and how to avoid it and the consequences. All of us teachers say that. The year tutors and the directors of studies say that. I'm saying it here on a video. I've got it written on my website as well. And I will say it in class if I get to teach in front of you this year. It is absolutely, as you would say, primordial. It's absolutely essential that you respect this. Otherwise, were it to happen, you would only have yourself to blame for not following the instructions. We've told you what it is, we've told you how to avoid it, and we've told you the consequences. So please, please, please understand that there just are no excuses for plagiarism. And do look at the Harvard referencing system and do look at the MLA system to make sure you know how to reference properly and consistently and always. It would help us enormously, both to give you a better mark and to make sure that there's no chance of you being blamed for plagiarizing anything. Okay, so please take that as a warning. Hopefully I never have to mention it again for the whole year. Thank you very much.